What's good, folks? You know who it is. You know what it is. It's your boy Polo back with another edition of Polo Talk Sports. For this one, I'm going to be doing Polo's Power Rankings Part 2. So tune in. You know, your boy, when it comes to all things sports, I am an expert, and let's get right into it. So I'm going to list my Power Rankings NBA edition. I'm going to list my top five from five down to one, and then I'm going to add on number six and give reasons why this number six team basically didn't make the cut, didn't make the list. And let's get right into it. Numero cinco on my Spanish. All right, number five is the Miami Heat. Now, they weren't on the list last week, but I only feel it's fair to add them to the list this week. They're the number one seed in the East at 44-23. A great defensive team, decent offensive team. They get their offense from everywhere on the team. Everyone chips in. Bam will get some buckets. Jimmy will get some buckets. Tyler Hero, Kentucky bred. You know how we do. He's a bucket, sixth man of the year. But the major reason why I added them to the list this year, or this week, Victor Oladipo, the boy VO, the Wakanda Forever Black Panther, he's back and back in action. Obviously, he's going to need some time to get his feet back under him. He came off another, I think, year-long injury. His career has been injury-ridden for real, so I feel for him. But he's another scoring option, and obviously he's a decent defender, decent to good defender. But a big reason why I didn't have the Heat on the list last week, even though they were the number one seed for about a week or two now, was I don't know where their scoring will come from in the playoffs when obviously possessions are more valuable. I just don't think you can get too far with Tyler Hero as your best scorer. But Victor Oladipo adds to the scoring. He's a thrasher. He can yam on heads. He can hit the occasional three. And he's just a consistent force. And, you know, he's been there and done that in the playoffs. He was really that guy back in Indiana. So we'll see how much he can help their chances. I still don't think – I think the ceiling for the Heat is the second round, maybe the conference finals, but depending on the matchup. But it's looking like they might get the Nets in the first round, and they might be one and done. Number four, we got the Phoenix Suns, a number one seed, but the number one seed on the West, obviously. So obviously a big reason for the Phoenix Suns being on this list. They're hungry. Devin Booker definitely wants that ring. He got a taste of what it feels like to play in the finals at the highest level, and the way Devin Booker's bred, Kentucky bred, you know how we do it. And he's just also a beast, you know. He tries to channel his inner Mamba. He's probably one of the players in the league today that is closest to Kobe in style of play. But we'll see. And obviously the big factor for the Suns is CP3. When will he be back? And when he comes back, will the Suns pick up right where they left off? Obviously they've been picking up his slack, but it is the regular season. They're definitely going to need CP3 to be healthy throughout the entire run in the playoffs, or they will get upset. So the Phoenix Suns, number four. Number three is the Nets. Obviously, they were number one last week. I moved them down a few slots just because, you know, they are still the eighth seed and they have been losing, winning as of late, but they've lost I think it's 17 of their last 20 or something crazy like that. They just got KD back. Kyrie just dropped a 50 ball on the Hornets, so they're looking like KD and Kyrie are going to be ready for the playoffs. The only thing that might derail them is if Kyrie's still going to be part-time. I don't think that'll matter until they get the Bucks or maybe the Sixers or a team like that in the playoffs. I do think Kyrie as a part-time player, they'll still be able to sweep the Heat if they get them in the first round, because they'll start away being the eighth seed, the Heat being the one seed, and Kyrie will play those first two games, which will be blowouts. And I believe in the next three games, I believe KD and Seth and all them other boys will have enough to get it done. Second round depends on matchup, and third round also depends on matchup. But I do think the Nets will make it to the conference finals, barring injury. And also it depends on Ben Simmons. He's another big factor, you know, old light skin. But we got to see when he gets back, you know, as long as he can make free throws, like I said in the last video, as long as he can hit his free throws and not literally be like a standing of negative player on offense, basically, not contribute at all besides passing. As long as they can't hack a Simmons, I think the Nets will be just fine. He fits perfectly on defense and on offense. He has a bunch of shooters and scorers around him, so and all he likes to do is pass anyway, so that's kind of perfect. All right, moving on. Number two, I got the Dubs. Yes, I got the Warriors. I would have had them higher because they got a great offense, great defense. They got the Splash Bros. But the only thing is Clay. I have not seen Clay be the Clay of old, and I know I'm not alone. The Warriors have been watching this games the last few weeks. They've been taking a lot of L's recently. I'm not even gonna hold you. Obviously, we don't have Draymond. Everyone's saying, "Oh, Draymond's one of the most important Warriors." You guys need to stop with all that. Draymond is not doing none of the scoring in the playoffs, and Steph is not gonna get it done by himself. I think the West is too good for that. The Nuggets are a good team. Probably not the Jazz, but the Mavericks and the Suns as well. I think they could hold their own versus the Warriors if it's just Steph doing the scoring. We have to see if Clay can step up, if the young and Jordan Poole can step up. That'll be really big for them come postseason. And number one, we got the Milwaukee. I need my Bucks. Giannis is a bucket. He's a monster. He's a beast. He can make his free throws now. There's almost no weakness in his game. Obviously, he's still not the shooter that most other superstars are, but he does have Drew Middleton, Drew Holiday, and Bobby Portis. Now, let me talk about Middleton especially because we saw what he did in the last couple playoff runs. He's a closer. He's the definition of a closer. Giannis going to build it up, and he's going to finish the job, and now that they have that ring under their belt, they know what it takes to win a championship. Even though injuries did play a factor, KD did almost beat them by himself. So we'll see what happens when they match up with the Nets. But Middleton and Drew Holiday are two very underrated, undervalued pieces. And I just think the Bucks they have a good team. They got good chemistry. And they're basically the same team that they were last year. And what happened last year, they only won the championship. They won the whole thing. So they're my favorites thus far to repeat. Obviously, I like the Nets a lot too, but there's so much different factors with the Nets that we never know. The Warriors really is all dependent on Clay for me. I think the young players are going to be young players. I think Steph's going to be Steph. Dre's going to be Dre. We just need to see, if not Clay, then we need to see someone else step up into that role. Maybe it's Wiggins, maybe it's Poole, whoever it is. And I think the Warriors got a good chance too. Now, team number 6 is the Sixers. Obviously, they got the Beard and the Troll. The best duo in the league, I do believe, but I do think they are kind of built for the regular season. I do think they can make it pretty far. I just don't think they can beat the Nets or the Bucks when it comes to the playoffs. We got to see Harden. He's obviously choked a lot in the past. Embiid has choked, or his teammates have choked, and he likes to blame everyone else for the Sixers not making it to the conference finals. But if you're going to be one of the best players in the league, at some point you got to stop blaming your teammates, aka Ben Simmons, and just take responsibility for yourself and just get it done. KD's done that in the past, LeBron's done that in the past, and eventually they just had to get it done. So if Embiid really wants to take that next step, he has to get it done. I do not want to see them lose and him just throw Harden under the bus, which I think there's a decent chance that that's going to end up happening. And that concludes this session of Polo's Power Rankings Part 2 NBA edition. And we out.